It's Saturday morning, live from across the Bostik Leagues. This is Back of the Net, where your weekend football begins.
So, very good morning to you. Welcome to another Saturday. We are live today at Hampton and Richmond Football Club for FA Trophy Day. They take on Harlow Town this afternoon. Full live commentary. And of course, the Bostik show highlights tomorrow. Alan Dowson, the Hampton and Richmond manager, is alongside us. Ian Dyer, the assistant manager, is on his way as well. As usual, Mick Sullivan is in the studio for all his expert views on everything Bostik and everything FA Trophy. Plenty of guests to whet your appetite this Saturday with Glenn Tamplin, the Billericay Town manager, give us a real in-depth interview to life at the club. We also speak to Jodi Brown, the Heybridge Swifts manager, about how you deal with fixture pile-up if you've been involved in plenty of cup fixtures this season. All that and our usual non-league football quiz and plenty more around the leagues to talk about today between now and 1 o'clock.
Your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the Net, where it matters.
So welcome to the show this morning. As always, very good morning to Mick Sullivan. Mick, it's nice to be involved in another round of FA Trophy fixtures today.
Yeah, another new ground or different place for us to go today, conference club, set up, and obviously a good friend of ours, Alan, running the club here and made us feel welcome. Nice.
Yeah, and Alan, good morning to you.
Morning.
It's nice to be here again at your football club, and it's a good time to be here as well. You're doing very well recently.
At the minute we're doing well, but football's a funny game. It'll be a tough game today. Looking forward to it, but it's nice to see us down here.
And it's been we spoke to you at the beginning of the season and got you on the show, and difficult start to the season. So many expectations because of what you did last year in your first season in the National South, and
Sure.
you've turned it around now. You're up near towards the playoffs again, and is that expectation because of last season so difficult to deal with?
It was at the start. I found it difficult at the start. We had a new chairman who I wanted to try to impress as well, who's from Gateshead, funny enough, so at least somebody can understand us. We had to get rid of, obviously, the two boys at Portsmouth. Harold then went to Maidenhead. Good luck to him. He's doing very well there. We've got Leon, my captain, had a bad knee injury, which he's hopefully coming back a little bit. He's on the bench today. But the bottom line is I found it difficult, I found it really difficult trying to get players again from lower down to try to get up to our level and beyond. So this run's come as a bit of a surprise, to be honest, but not too much because the games were lost. They've all been by the one goal. The 90th minute against Havant, bang on half-time against Braintree, bang on half-time against Hemel, and that's the 3 games we've lost. But the lads have been fantastic. The attitude's been spot on. I couldn't ask, to be fair, to work with better people at the minute. And the club's on a bit of an up at this minute. But honest, truth is, Ben, things couldn't change because if we lose today and lose next week, as Mick will tell you, being a manager who lost quite a lot of games in his management career, it's a hard thing to come back from,
And when we talk about those expectations, you came up from the Bostik divisions. It was then the Ryman division.
Yep.
And you did so well in that first season. Sometimes we've seen it a lot when you look into the Football League and the Premier League, where teams get promoted and they do so well that first season. It just raises that bar. And actually, if you would have finished mid-table or below last year, the expectations wouldn't. You could have built on it. You almost don't do yourself a favour by doing so well.
It is. It's a catch-22. You're right what you're saying, but you're wrong in a different way as well, because whatever happens, it doesn't matter what budget you got, what players you got, I think these managers, I was talking to Mick before, they call them projects now. They're calling our beautiful game projects. So some foreigner would have come in and started saying the word project, so everybody wants to jump on that now. No, I don't get the project one, to be honest. I think there's an absolute cobblers. What you got to do as a manager, you got to win a game of football on a Saturday. That's what you got to do. Doesn't matter what budget you got, it doesn't matter what injuries you've got, it doesn't matter what club you're at, Raymond or Conference, you're paid to win a game of football on a Saturday as a manager and to get your players to win a game. So don't give me all this blinking things about projects and all that. That's what I've got to do. Long term, haven't got long term. All I've got to do to win today, and after that, I've got to win a game next week.
When we talk around the Bostik leagues this season, which we've based ourselves in, and we talk to all the managers that come on the shows, and they say that this year everybody can beat everyone, and everyone's expectation, probably down to only a handful of clubs at the bottom, will be to get into the playoffs. Is that the same in the National South?
I think so, because it goes up to 7th now in the National South. It goes up to 7th, so it's I think you could be maybe 6th from bottom, but still think, I'll tell you what, I'm only 2 points from 7th. So I think it gives everybody a fair crack at it. And there'll be teams below us who think, I'll tell you what, the top 7, I've got a chance here. So I think it's good. Going down to 7th, we finished 7th last year, as you know, but got in the playoffs. And again, I keep saying it, as your manager, if you finish 7th, the only thing I've got to try to do this year is finish 6th, 5th. You've got to try to improve it, as simple as that. So, but I agree, everybody can't beat each other, and we're no different. Harlow could come, and it wouldn't be a massive surprise them turning us over today, to be honest.
With obviously the shake-up of a new division being made this coming season has allowed lots of extra spots become available. But I think it's a good thing because, as you say, it keeps the league alive right to the end of the season. Yeah. A lot of these leagues sort of like are killed dead. And I can go back down to combined counties, say, for this season, Step 5 and Sussex leagues. You know, there's a lot of managers I know at that level are looking like they're probably mid-table at the minute, but really think they can get it because they've been told by the FA that 3 teams possibly could go up. 3 teams possibly, rather than the automatic 2, to make up these extra clubs, to make this extra league up at Step 3. So, you know, I think it's a really good thing. It's a shame that maybe they couldn't expand it slightly the coming season when they've settled the new leagues up and try to get some extra spots in there, just so it keeps all these divisions alive, and particularly at Step 5, because only one automatic promotion is a bit of a killer, and it kills that level of football at Step 5.
I agree with you, Mick, because what you're saying there is right, Mick, to be honest, because even 5 weeks ago, we are 2 points off bottom. But we were also not looking at the championship, obviously, but also thinking, well, we're only 5 points off the playoffs. And it does give you that stripe to say, now, if it was only a top 2 or top 1, we would probably cut the budget and, you know, and stuff. So I do think what you're saying, even doesn't matter what league it is, how high or low, the more of these little opportunities your club get, the better. And I think supporters prefer that. I think chairman, players prefer that. So I think you should always have spots for the good of a game, really. You know, for the good of a game.
And there's so much to talk about with this football club. We looked at, when we came last year, we talked about a couple of players that you'd brought into the club and then sold on. I think one of them went to Portsmouth.
2 of them went to Portsmouth.
Yeah, 2 of them went to Portsmouth, doing really well. Is that something that, again, you're looking to do this year, where you're trying to get players that you can use at the club, but also develop as well?
You always want to develop, and we've got 2 young lads who just signed, one 16-year-old lad, Randall, and another lad, Enoch, who's playing for Harrow today. 2 young boys, maybe, but me hand on heart, I don't think I've got anybody who I could sell out of current crop, to be honest. Max Krasmar, possibly because he scored 10 goals from that number 10 role, but he's 24 years old now. The 2 lads we had last season, or 3 lads really, when you look at Musa De Hava as well, were exceptional, absolutely exceptional. And what we have done for this football club is incredible. The lads I've got now are a great set of lads and work very hard, but I don't, except for Sam Howes, who I think is the best young keeper in England, to be honest, I don't think I've got anybody who I could sell on, but they do work as hard as anybody else in the league, you know.
Do you think that when you sell players on like that, the effect that it has on the football club, I assume that you get some of that money back to then spend for this season?
I never got a penny last season, to be honest. Not one penny. Just helped appear. It went quick, because if all clubs lose money, so if you're getting 50 grand aside, obviously it goes to pay the wages, and that's all it done last season, to be honest. Jamal Lowe, obviously we've got sell-ons on these people, and Jamal Lowe's doing ever so well. He's in the team every single week he is. So our potluck would be, would some big gun come in for Jamal and offer £2 million, and we get a sell on, and that would be nice all round. But Nick Kabamba's on loan at coaches at the minute. But it's about a player, to be honest. If you shake hands with a player and you say, go on, you wish him well, you know, you wish him well. And we're very proud of Jamal, and he should be proud of himself. And same as Kabamba, really. But the money side of it, unless it's hundreds of thousands, I think it just always goes back in anywhere. Our chairman, my chairman now, would back anything, to be honest, you know. So I imagine if something happened this season, then he would put it back in. That's my gut feeling. But I hope he's not listening to this, because he might not.
Alan, just a quick one. Obviously, on some of our research we've done on you, you obviously brought a heck of a lot of loan signings in that come and go from particularly Sutton and Oxford United. Obviously, you've got a good relationship with both those managers there. But in all honesty, how are you going to get the people we just spoke about, i.e. the people you're going to sell, if you're just bringing in loan people? Surely you've got to unearth a diamond from the lower level, and have you got the scouting network out there to do that, to bring that diamond up, which you did speak about, and I know you do look at the lower level, so I'm not knocking you for that. But if you're going to just bring these loan guys in and they're going to come and go, it's been fantastic the fact that you've kept your results going consistently by doing it that way. So God knows how that happens.
Well, we've got the results because of the loan signs. It's got me nerves a little bit, Mick, to be honest. People mention the loans a bit too much, supporters maybe and things like that, where I made some mistakes in the summer. I went and I thought I could replace what I had, and I don't think I made that good a job of it, to be honest. So I thought, instead of pretending everything's going to be all right, I'll make decisions. Now, because we haven't got the budget some of the top 5 clubs have got in our league, we've got to do a different way. So getting Sweeney in kick-started our season, getting Napa in kick-started our season. So if we got to have loans, we don't have to worry about anything else till the end of March. At the end of March, when you've got to sort of have that month that's the only time you panic about it. I think loans are very part of a club like ours. We need them, as simple as that. So, the permanent signs are made from the lower leagues, didn't fit in for whatever reason. We're always looking at games, but the loans have been fantastic, and a club like ours has got it back with our loans. We wouldn't have won these games. We wouldn't have won these games when we got the loans in. I'm telling you that now. So they've been massively beneficial to us.
Plenty more to talk about between now and 1 o'clock to Alan Dowson, the manager of Hampton and Richmond. We're going to focus on today's game in the FA Trophy as well and talk all about that. But first of all, let's hear from Spencer Knight, the assistant manager at Harlow Town, ahead of today's game. Not a great result for you in midweek, but how do you turn that around and prepare for a team in a division above?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. We had a poor performance Tuesday, really poor. But the trophy's a bit of a relief from the league. So we trained last night and fully focused on Hampton and sort of forget about our league position for a little while, which is nice. And we've normally been better this year as the underdog, so we'll go there tomorrow and just have a go, really.
Why do you think that is, the form this season and where you find yourself?
It's a difficult one to put your finger on. We've made some changes to the squad, which probably haven't worked out as we'd like. And it's one of those, maybe we were a bit of a surprise package last year to a lot of teams, and we've not found that this year. We've had injury problems, which everyone has, but perhaps our squad in depth has not been as good as it maybe could be. Loads of different reasons why we've not performed to the way that we'd like. We know what's wrong, we know what we need to do, and we're trying our best to bring in players to make it better, really.
So my next question was going to be, what do you do to turn it around? So you're looking to bring in a few new players and freshen the squad up?
Yeah, definitely. We've squad's really thin at the minute. We've lost a few through long-term injury, and we need to bring in some fresh faces, I think, to mix it up. Some of the players have been with us for a long time, and sometimes the things become stale with players. So we need to freshen it up, and we know that, and we're actively trying to do that. We've already brought one in this week, and we're hopefully getting 2 or 3 more next week.
It's one that we've seen this season. It's one of the leagues that anyone can beat anybody. Anything can happen. It's quite tight all across the division. Do you still have hopes that you can kick on in the second half of the season and challenge for the playoffs?
Look, the playoffs at the minute are a long way away. The first thing in our thought is to get ourselves away from the problems at the bottom, and we've been saying in-house that we need to stop thinking about we're too good to be in this position. We need to get the points on the board to prove that. It's all well and good people saying, you've got good players and you shouldn't be where you are. We're where we are for a reason, because we haven't performed up to the levels that we need to. So first things first, in the league, we need to get on track and get some more points on the board. And then if we look after Christmas and we've had a bit of a run, then perhaps we'll look at the playoffs. But first thoughts for us is steering clear of trouble. You
mentioned the underdog tag. Did it excite you to be drawn against the likes of Hampton and Richmond, who are doing very well in the National South after being promoted a couple of years ago?
Yeah, they're doing really well. It didn't excite me, if I'm honest. I'd have preferred a home game for sure against someone lower than us. But this is the FA Trophy. It's the best competition that we've got a chance of winning, if we're honest. So it's a tough tie. We know that, against a team flying at the minute. But we'll go down and we'll give it a go.
For the best highlights from across the Bostik Leagues, visit youtube.com/back of the net.
Yeah, Harlow Town 23rd in the Bostik Premier Division. It's fair to say, Mick, they haven't had the start that would have wanted. And mentioning there, Spencer said that they're looking to change the players round considerably in the next couple of months, which tells you that it's not all gone to plan.
No, I think we might have spoken about this in previous shows. Obviously, being there, played there against them for Merstham last season, and they're a formidable outfit at their ground. So Dow's just saying that if you had drawn them away, you would have had a harder game, in my opinion.
So let's not have a replay.
Yeah. Well, beware, because they've got staunch support down there. You don't want to be around the dugout area. But anyway, going back, I noticed they were really formidable at home, particularly last year, where they accumulated a lot of points. But I feel... And I noticed at the start of this season and close season that they had, changed a lot of personnel around, which was quite surprising. Don't quite know why that was. Obviously, some key figures are there, which I think it's Reed up top. Is a quality player.
I put a 70 in for him. I did.
You did.
When I was at Kingstonian manager.
Wow.
He was at Brentwood.
Well, beware, Danny. He could be putting a 7-dayer in after today's game if Reed has a good one.
No.
But the poor league form, but they're obviously involved today in the FA Trophy, and they've already beaten Aylesbury and they beat Dulwich Hamlet in the last round, so can't take them lightly. And you went up to watch them on Tuesday night as well, and even though it was a heavy defeat, you were impressed by certain parts of their game.
I still think they've got good players. Obviously got a good manager and good players. And like anybody else, I've been there before. That when you have a bad team, you have a bad team. But I didn't think they were that bad. I didn't think I had many young kids playing, or all men. I thought they were quite strong in some areas. Obviously, Needham Market played well in the second half, I suppose, on the day. But I don't think there was nothing in it that much, to be honest. And I know that we've just beat Dulwich. I know that we've just beat Leiston. I know it took Billericay all the way as well. So we're well aware that we haven't just watched them once. We're well aware that we have got, if you like to call bigger games, if you want to call them that. And I'm sure today it'll be a big game for us, but also a very big game for them. So I imagine it should be a good game of football, And the lad Reed, I just remember Reed being at Brentwood and he was scoring all them goals, I think it was. And I remember putting a 7-day about 5 years ago when I was manager at Kingstonian. I'm sure it's the same lad, the centre forward. It is, yeah.
And they've got 19 goals this season. It's a joint lowest in the league, along with Leatherhead. Things like that make a difference, that they're low goal scorers.
To be fair, Ben, you're putting me on it, aren't you? You and Mick. So, you know what I mean? So the bottom line is, here's Mr. Taylor walking through now. The bottom line is, we're not going to underestimate anybody. It doesn't matter how many goals are scored. It doesn't matter what they do. And it doesn't matter how we are. If you haven't scored that many goals, that's one of them things. But they may score a couple a day. We just got to be on guard to make sure that it doesn't happen,
And underdogs, they mentioned it in the interview that they quite looking forward to the fact that they're underdogs, and that's the tag that they've got. And I guess that for you, that's the worry today, that they feel like they've got nothing to lose.
It's not a worry, because we didn't going to win the game 5-6. We're just going to try to win the game. Now, because we're Little Hampton from a village, we're underdogs most weeks. So being on top of that and playing in a game that people might think you've been telling me we should win. We're not like it's only 2 years ago that we were bottom of the league, and we were underdogs all the time. And even now we go to these teams and we feel as though we're underdogs all the time. So just because it's maybe under our foot a day, it'll not worry us at all, because we'll just try to win a game of football 1-0. If there's anything more, brilliant. But we're not any kidding ourselves that it's going to be a very tough game, and they've got some decent players. One player who's played in the Premiership, and they've got players who have been there, seen it, done it. One player who scored 30 goals last year, was it? Matt Reed. So we're not going to underestimate anything. It'll be a tough game of football, so it doesn't matter what league position it's in.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating game this afternoon. Full live commentary from 3 o'clock. And of course, highlights on the Bostik League show tomorrow from 10. Plenty more to talk about of the FA Trophy. We're going to play our non-league football quiz as well in the next half an hour. But first of all, going to hear from Glenn Tamplin, the Billericay manager. Spoke to him yesterday, and it's a fascinating interview, an insight into their recent form, their FA Cup match, Paul Konchesky leaving the club, and also the ramifications that perhaps the club have on social media as well. Fascinating interview from Glenn Tamplin, the Billericay manager. Been a busy week for you at the club with Paul Konchesky leaving. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, me and Paul have been in talks for about 6 weeks. Paul has a lot of other work commitments. He obviously has TV and media commitments, and also there's a hell of a lot of games, and there's times that players are on the bench and times that players are playing. And what we can't do is guarantee when a player plays and when he don't. So for Paul, if he's playing every time and he's missing a work commitment because he's playing, obviously it's not a problem. But if Paul's missing a work commitment because he's sitting on the bench, it's not worth missing a work commitment. And no matter who you are, with the amount of games we've got, no one can play every game because we'll probably play 70 games.
Do you have any plans do you have to replace him now he's left?
No. We've got 28 players. We don't need to replace him, no. So it was a joint decision between Paul and I. We agreed it best for Paul's future. And Paul's future is more important than anything else. So it made sense for that. And so at the end of the day, it's what I care about is my players' futures and the club's future. And it made sense for the club and for Paul to call it a day.
When you're involved in that FA Cup tie with Leatherhead and various other cup competitions, there are a few people last week that said, you know what, actually Billericay's downfall might be all these fixtures. And I looked at it at the weekend, and you played on the Saturday, you played Kingstonian on Monday night and went there and won 2-0. And for me, that was the standout result of that week. To go to a place like Kingstonian and win 2-0 on a Monday night showed me that it just might not be a problem for you.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I believe that was a point in the season where I know my boys have really, really got every chance of being league champions. Because to come back from that after, as you say, a cold Monday night, away at Kingstonian, which is Leatherhead's ground, by the way, and to go there and beat the team, the only team that's beaten us in the league, to go there and beat them 2-0 and get a clean sheet, that was a huge result. Huge. That was a bit. And if you actually said to me, and I've said it before, if you said to me, Glenn, you can win the FA Cup game, but you're going to lose the next 2 league games, or you can lose the FA Cup and you can win the next 2 league, I would always pick the league. Because the whole idea of me spending all this money is for us to go up the league. And let's be honest, I'm never going to win the FA Cup.
Yeah, you've got 5 games in hand on Dulwich. Do you keep an eye on them and what they're doing, or does it really not bother you because you know you've got those games in hand?
No, what was important for me is they was getting too far away from us, and which is why I made sure we had these 2 league games, because obviously we're in the trophy again tomorrow. So what's important is we don't let Dulwich get too far away. So if they go and get a 10-point gap, even if we've got 5, 6, 7 games in hand, that can be a mental stress. So long as they're only 5, 6 points away, and we've got 5 or 6 games in hand, they're not in my fault. But if I allow them to get too far away, they could become in my fault. So right now they're not, but that's because I'm not allowing them to get distance on me to become a problem. If you actually said to me, why did I get them 2 league games in? It was because Dulwich were gathering momentum. And the funny thing is, we go and get the games in, put 6 points, momentum's back in their field, and then they just about scrape a draw in the 95th minute. So we reverse the mentality. I
just wanted to ask you, it's been a great season so far for football for us. We speak to so many people, and there's teams that can beat each other, and the way that non-league football's going now with the attendances is fantastic. Does Glenn Tamplin get a chance to enjoy the football and the experience with everything else that you're trying to do?
In answer to that, Glenn Tamplin still thinks more about the one game in the league he lost at the first game of the season than he does about any of the victories. So probably no. But come the end of the season, yes. But right now, see, this is what it is. I can't let complacency set in. I have to think about the one defeat we've had rather than the 12 wins and 1 draw, or the 20+7, 28 match unbeaten run, but we've now had a loss in it. I'm always one of these ones when I ain't quite done enough. I might have a tenner, but I want £11. I might have 15, I want 20. I'm always pushing. So does Glenn Tamplin get to enjoy it? Not really, because it's always stressful. Look, something like the Thurrock game when we was 3-0 up after 20 minutes, then I can enjoy it.
And I guess you've still got so much going on with the project. Is there still so much more to do there?
Well, here's the problem. We've still got to do the training facilities. We've still got to do them. Yes, Turf. We're still fighting the council for planning. We're still fighting the council for an extension of our lease. I'm still doing all my work for charity. I'm still running my businesses to find the money to pay into the club every week. I just don't have any time. And then I've got 5 children that I've got to try and juggle a family life as well. I'm actually stretched too much. And it's not a coincidence. In the last month, I've had a cold for 3.5 weeks of the month. So, yeah, it's stressful. And then, obviously, you go through something like you did Thursday, and then you get all that disgusting abuse on Twitter. And, no, it's tough sometimes. It's tough. But you know what? I didn't go in this for an easy ride, and nothing good comes easy. What they say, there's no growth in comfort. I'm in for the long haul, and I'm in for the battle.
It's one of those sides of social media, and I will ask you, because you've mentioned it, is that something that you can just, with what you're building and what you're doing, is it easy to switch that off and ignore it?
I tell you what, when you hear people putting stuff about, because my children read, when there's things about people having sex with my wife, or there's things about me taking drugs, or there's things about me and my brother-in-law doing stuff, and when they bring my family into it, or they talk stuff that actually is damaging in my family household, that's the stuff I struggle to cope. And then when I do react, like I did before, the man that was saying about what he'd done to my wife personally, and then he wanted to commit suicide because I was still breathing. When I told him to ever find a building to jump off it or a fast train, I'm then all over the papers for telling the bloke to commit suicide and kill himself. So what frustrates me is how things are twisted and turned on me when it's really not the case. That's what I find hard to deal with. So someone can slag me and my family off for weeks and weeks and weeks, and when I bite back, I'm all over the papers for telling someone to kill themselves when it wasn't even like that. So what I find hard, like Joey Law, one of my players, he's rung me and said he's got newspapers offering him a lot of money to sell a bad story on me. What's the desperation to get a story on me? But obviously, the truth of the matter is there is nothing. There is no story. There is no story.
The way to deal with it is to win the league, to go up and keep building what you're building, towards the football league.
Exactly that, mate. And so all I can do is I've got to stay strong, but it's very hard. I have to sit back and take unjustified abuse and let my family watch it, and I'm not allowed to defend myself. That's the hard part of social media.
For the best highlights from across the Bostik Leagues, visit youtube.com/Back of the Net.
Yeah, very open and honest interview from Glenn Tamplin of Billericay Town. Mick talking about the other side, I guess, to social media, and he does put himself out there quite a lot, and I guess if you do that, you're going to be up there to be counted.
The word is Marmite, isn't it? You know, some people are going to love him and some people are going to hate him. And, particularly I like his sort of enthusiasm for the game and the fact that he's quite prepared to say what he thinks. But on the other side, I'm sure there's plenty of people being critical out there saying, well, you say what you think, you reap the rewards and the negatives when they don't come off. And unfortunately, he has to handle that side of it, which obviously he finds difficult. But that's what the media game's about, as I'm starting to learn.
So welcome back to the show. We're live at Hampton and Richmond Football Club. I've got to say a very good morning to Martin Tyler, who's just joined us. Morning, Martin. And in that interview, we just mentioned about Paul Konchesky, who's left the club, obviously a big name in the Bostik Leagues this season. And the question, I guess, is will they miss him for the rest of the year? He says he's not going to replace him. It's personal reasons that he's left. Will they miss a player of that calibre?
I'm sure they will. I just found out in time, actually. I do a thing called the teaser for Sky Sports, and the question was, I was at West Ham v Leicester last night, and the question was 5 players who played in the Premier League for both West Ham and Leicester. And obviously Conch is one of those 5. And I was about to say, now still playing at Billericay, but somebody just marked my card about half an hour beforehand, so I didn't drop that particular clanger. So, he's a terrific lad, Paul. I've known him since he was 16. He'll want to play, I'm sure. He's born to play the game. And, if you can replace a player of that calibre, I'm sure if anybody can, it'll be Billericay because they've got the budget to do it.
And we saw him, Mick, on the FA Cup game recently, and we felt being played out of position potentially. Obviously, he said afterwards, Harry Wheeler, that he felt like they could both play in there, him and Jermaine Pennant, but they certainly got turned over by Sammy Moore and Blackman in midfield. And I don't know whether sitting on the bench and maybe changing positions had anything to do with it.
Well, as a manager, and the quality and experience those two players got, Jermaine Pennant and obviously Paul Konchesky, you would expect them that they could be able to adapt and play a centre midfield role. But, Mark White made comment on the night. He felt that they played them out of position, and however good they might be, they're coming up with some quality, again, with Leatherhead, who have got quality right way through their side. That people have got to remember that there's a heck of a lot of experience in the Leatherhead side, not far off what Billericay had out on that night. So, and they could contend, and I think they out-battled and outplayed them in that middle area.
Today they play Hungerford in the FA Trophy. They played in the FA Cup this year. They won 6-1 in the replay. It was a draw in the first game, and Hungerford got beaten 6-1 when it went back to Billericay. Do you know Hungerford well, Alan?
Yeah, we know them well. We were 2-0 up there a little while ago and drew 2-2. A manager, an assistant manager we know well. So it'll be a tough little game for them, to be honest. Tough all round. I think it'll be a good cup tie, to tell you the truth.
Any advantage when you've played? So strange how the cup draws come out when you've already played somebody twice in the FA Cup and you draw them in the FA Trophy. I guess they'll know a little bit more about each other. Probably
will, and probably had each other watched over the last couple of weeks, just like we do and teams do against us. But anyhow, I don't think so. It's just another game of football you got to win. If you play somebody twice or 3 times, I don't think it makes that much difference. You still go about their weaknesses, you still look at your weaknesses, their strengths, your strengths. But at the same time, it's a game of football that you got to win. So I don't know. But obviously, Billericay keep changing quite a lot, I suppose. Where Hungerford might not so much, But we wish them well. Hope it's a good game.
We'll come on to some predictions a little bit later when we do Mick versus the managers. Ian Dyer,
Question 1.
Ian Dyer has just joined us, the assistant manager. Ian, very good morning to you.
Morning. How you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you. And you've come at the right time because we're about to do our non-league football quiz.
Okay.
So we're going to test the brains of everybody in our studio here at Hampton and Richmond. Hopefully we've all
That's
got.
me and Martin out there.
Questions are before 1975. Anything more recently, no chance.
So hopefully we've all got pen and
You've
paper.
got to take into account my playing era. So
That's it.
So come on, I want some questions about the Amateur Cup and stuff like that.
Can't believe you're playing it down, Martin. But I mean, now, if you don't get 5 out of 5, I'm not having none of that.
We're asking questions.
Listen, I spend my week trying to know what's happening in a Premier League, but it's not the Bostik Premier League. So
The quiz was written by our producer Remy today, so there's a bit of pressure already for these questions. So hopefully we've all got have we all got pens and paper? We're all ready to play the quiz. Mick takes this very seriously as well, so he's got all his notes there on his left-hand side. Let's get on with the non-league football quiz today.
This is the non-league football quiz. Question 1.
So the first question today is, can you name 3 clubs who are hosting in the FA Trophy third round qualifying today? 3 clubs who are hosting today in the FA Trophy. Okay, Mick looking confident. Plenty to choose from. I just had to slightly turn my iPad to make sure that Alan wasn't just checking out some of the answers on here. I'm sure you weren't, Alan.
I haven't even looked.
Question 2.
2-6.
So we'll move on to the second question, but you can come back to it if you want. Which Bostik Premier leading striker are Gillingham, AFC Wimbledon and Crawley Town reportedly keeping an eye on this week? Which Bostik Premier League leading striker are Gillingham, AFC Wimbledon, Crawley Town keeping an eye on? I'll give you a few choices. Nico Muir from Hendon, Mohammed Bettimer from Staines Town, or Jordan Chadozi from Margate. Which one of those players has been linked to a move to the Football League this week?
Can you say them again, please, and the clubs?
Nico Muir, Hendon, Mohammed Bettimer, Staines, or Jordan Chadozi, who plays for Margate. Which of those players have been linked with a move to the Football League this week?
Question 3.
So question 3. Name the Bostik sides who were removed from the FA Trophy for fielding a suspended player, and they reinstated Egham Town into the competition because of this. So which Bostik side were removed from the FA Trophy because they fielded a suspended player, reinstating Egham Town into the competition?
I read about it.
Plenty of thought going on in the studio.
You must remember your Bostik League background, Daz. You can't become...
I wasn't in it as long as you, Mick.
Fair enough, I'm opening myself. You got the banter back, Daz. Well done.
Good lad. You spent your life in there, son.
Question 4.
Question 4. Paul Doswell is the manager of which National League side? Paul Doswell is the manager of which National League side? Is that just making sure everyone gets a point today?
Oh, best pals. Talk about that. God, dear. Look at him thinking hard. God, dear. Don't give me that look.
I think we can move on. We can move on pretty quickly from
my
that
level,
one.
Mick. Now.
Question 5.
And the fifth and final question in the non-league football quiz today. Out of the following non-league clubs, which North London clubs is situated closest to Wembley Stadium? Hendon, Haringey Borough, Harrow Borough, Potters Bar Town, or North Greenford United? Which North London club is situated closest to Wembley Stadium? Hendon, Haringey Borough, Harrow Borough, Potters Bar Town, or North Greenford United? And I will give you 5 bonus points if you can tell me how many miles that nearest club are situated to Wembley Stadium.
I wouldn't have a clue, I guess. It used to be because they used to play out Wembley, didn't it? Hendon. We used to play out Wembley.
Yeah, is it
Remember
not Wembley Town anymore?
But they've moved now, Hendon, haven't they, Daz? They've moved ground.
Yep.
They're playing at Edgware, aren't
Okay, we'll give you a little bit of time to to go over your answers again. It's official BOTN across social media if you want to get your answers in, and we'll tell you exactly what they were after this.
You're listening to Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Times are changing. We now live in a digital world where 9 out of 10 people use the internet to look for local goods and services. Whether in front of a computer at home or on a mobile phone on the go, people expect to find what they want, when they want, quickly and easily. The question is, can your business be found? At Promote UK, we specialise in getting local businesses found online. One highly affordable package will give your business a stunning mobile responsive website, which we guarantee to get to the first page of Google and keep it there. And we take care of everything: copywriting, design, hosting. We even offer unlimited amends all year round for no extra charge. So, whilst you're busy focusing on your business, we're busy making sure it can be found online all year round. Start your Google Page One journey today with a free online health check by visiting promoteUKLimited.com. Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
From Premiership to Playground, MH Goals has everything you need for an outstanding football match, including aluminium and steel football goals, nets, line marking machines, team shelters, boot wipers, and much more. Buy with confidence direct from the manufacturer with great prices available across our whole range of sports equipment. What's more, we offer fantastic discounts for all FA affiliated clubs. We pride ourselves on British manufacturing. We make all our football goals here in the UK and conform to the latest British and European safety standards. So call MH Goals direct on 01502 711 298 or visit our online store at mhgoals.com.
Are you a budding footballer sitting your GCSEs next summer, wondering what to do next? Want to play football while studying for qualifications that will get you into university? Dorking Wanderers Football Club are now recruiting for their football academy for 2018-2019. Based at their brand new state-of-the-art Meadowbank Stadium, you'll be playing in the National Conference Youth Alliance against the best clubs in the area each week, as well as the prestigious FA Youth Cup. You'll be studying BTEC Level 3 qualifications, equivalent to 3 A-levels, alongside professional coaching from our UEFA qualified coaches. For information on trials and open evenings, visit dorkingwanderers.com/academy or email academy@dorkingwanderers.com.
Head to backofthenet.south.co.uk tomorrow morning for video highlights and full match reaction of today's games. Back to your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the net, where it matters.
So welcome back to the show this morning. We're live from Hampton and Richmond Football Club ahead of the FA Trophy game this afternoon against Harlow Town. We're delighted to say that Alan Dowson is here, the manager, Ian and I, the assistant manager, and Martin Tyler joined us as well.
I've not got a role at the club.
A coach at the club, I believe, if I've got that right, hopefully. Are you assistant manager as well?
Yeah.
God, do you know what? I'm learning something new today.
Is it joint assistant manager?
I think Ian's known as under 14 coach. So
Is he actually? I think it was when did we were last here? I think it was because you came on as assistant manager. So we was just saying about the quiz.
It's all the same on the website as well. So you're not the only one.
Is it not? Is it on the website? Is it not right?
I'm the unpaid assistant manager.
Okay, so there we go. We're learning something new. It's good. Well, Mick was just mentioning about quiz questions, so perhaps we should have done a Hampton and Richmond Football Club quiz today.
You're right.
That would have been good. We're going to go through our quiz answers now, so you can play along official BOTN and let us know how you got on with the quiz. We're really intrigued to see how everybody got on here. Still some answers being written down, Ian, I see there as well.
Join in with the biggest non-league football quiz in the country. Tweet your answers to @officialBOTN.
Okay, right, let's go through the answers.
Question 1.
Name 3 clubs who are hosting in FA Trophy third round qualifying action this weekend. Ian, we'll start with you as you're right next to me. What did you get?
I've gone Chelmsford, Brentwood and Hungerford.
Okay, what did you get, Alan?
Hungerford, Chelmsford and Hampton.
Martin?
Hampton, Havant, Waterlooville and Hungerford.
And what did you get, Mick?
Hampton, Kingstonian and Hendon.
That's not a dear. The question was today.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow. That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Kingston's tomorrow. No, hold on a minute. No, I'm being serious, isn't it?
You get me on a technicality.
If you're there being Chris Harrington, that's the rules of the game then. The rules are, who's the idea? Mick's got a question, what's tomorrow? And that's not
We got that on tape, it said today.
I'm going to deflect it to our producer, Remy, who did the quiz. He's going to go through the answers and he's going to give the marks out.
Okay, so...
Go on, Ray.
I was still like processing everyone else's answer before we got to Mick. So was it the Kingstonian Haybridge Swifts, the one that were a little bit funny?
But that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we want to do a quiz tomorrow. Do a quiz about tomorrow.
They are playing tomorrow, so we can't accept that. But they are the home team. They are.
Oh no, that's besides the point.
And it's Chelmsford are away. That they're not at home today.
I said away, Remy.
Yes, you said Hampton. You said 3H teams, didn't you? No, that was Martin.
Hampton, Hungerford, and I says Wilson against
Wilston. So we got 3-3-2. And Mick, who were your other teams? Kingstonian?
Yeah, he's not giving me Kingstonian.
Not at all.
So it's just Hampton and Hendon.
Hampton. And
Okay,
Hendon,
we'll move
Hendon
on. We'll get the final scores. We were just checking a few of these fixtures.
Question 2.
So the second question was, which Bostik Premier leading striker are Gillingham, AFC Wimbledon and Crawley Town reportedly keeping an eye on? And was it Nico Muir of Hendon, Mohammed Batimer of Staines Town, or Jordan Chidosi of Margate? What did you get, Ian?
I went Jordan Chidosi.
Alan?
I went to see him. Jordan out in Margate, lad. I didn't know what to spell his second name.
I've only seen Besimus, so I went for him.
And what did you go for, Mick?
Well, I would have gone for Nico because I liked him as a player, but I put Margate here, the Margate lad, so because of the area.
I can tell you that the answer was Nico Muir. He's been linked with a move to those 3 Football League clubs this week, maybe after his performance on Tuesday night.
He was good. He was good.
Extremely good. Scored a couple of goals as well.
Question 3.
Name the Bostik side who are removed from the FA Trophy having fielded a suspended player, reinstating Egham Town into the competition. Ian?
I went for a bit of a punt because I had some help saying it was Ryman North, so I went Hornchurch, but it was a guess.
Brentwood.
Was that? Have you just given that answer off the top of your head now?
Just because.
Is that because it's on my page here at the top?
Yeah. Not at all.
Martin?
Yeah. Well, I could easily say Brentwood. I play by the rules. I
swear. I can't see that.
It's all right because that's the wrong bit of paper anyway. So.
I honestly don't have a clue. I put Ware. I don't even know if they're in the Ryman.
They are.
Ware Town, because we've had a couple of players down here on trial from there, so that's the one I put.
Yeah. Mick?
Yeah, it's my adopted club, Bowers and Pitsea.
And the answer was, yeah, of course, Bowers and Pitsea, unfortunately. What are you saying now, Alan?
It's the one coming up he won't know.
That's it, aye?
Yeah.
Question 4.
And the fourth question was, of course, Paul Doswell is the manager of which National League side? Do we need to do the answers to this?
Wouldn't have thought so.
No, I think we've.
Mick hasn't been up high.
I think we're all going to put Sutton United, so we'll count that as everybody's got a point.
Question 5.
This is the best question of the quiz today. Out of the following non-league clubs, which North London club is situated closest to Wembley Stadium? Hendon, Haringey Borough, Harrow Borough, Potters Bar Town, or North Greenford United? I like this one, Rem. I was
inspired because we were in North London we went around the houses of North London on Tuesday.
You got to see them all.
We all travelled separately for the first time. So a few of us got the train, a few of us got the tube, a few of us got the bus, a few of us drove. So we all went round North London. So it's like, we could see Wembley from where we were. So I was like, let's see who's the closest.
And what did you put in?
It's a complete guess again, which is shocking. But I went Harrow Borough.
Alan?
North Greenwood. That's a complete guess as well.
Martin?
Well, I do a bit of driving round there, so mine's not so much of a guess. But I go for North Greenford as well, 4 miles.
Oh, wow, that's quite
You
better have your answer right here, and he looks very confident as he said that. Very confident.
Mick?
Again, I've been to a lot of those clubs, and I'm thinking, where have I seen the arch from? And I'm trying to sort of guess the mileage. I went Harrow Borough, and I sort of went 2 mile.
Okay, I can tell you, in reverse order, Potters Bar Town is 15.1 miles away from Wembley.
Played there this season, actually. It's a long way from Wembley.
Yeah. I don't know if you can still see the arch from there.
You can see it from Dowson's house.
Right,
you can in Walton, in Walton Hersham.
Haringey Borough, 10.8 miles away. Harrow Borough, 4.6 miles away.
Don't give me
3.1 miles away. North Greenford United. Hendon, 2.5 miles.
Wow.
You know what? I should have said Hendon because we were there Tuesday. I thought that might have come into it.
Very close though, but I feel like Martin knew that it was, 3-4 miles away for North Grenford. I thought that was a good guess.
Okay, hold on a minute.
Do we give a bonus point
Hold
to
on,
that?
I've got an answer as well.
Oh, do you know? You knew how the measurement.
We travel a lot to games.
So if we're thinking like that, should have got a little pussy bonus on top.
Half a point each.
Half a point, yeah.
We'll take half a point.
Half a point.
But we might have to because there's level points at the
might get you
moment.
over the
So.
line.
Okay, right. Let's find out what the scores were after that quiz.
Okay, so in joint in second is Ian, and then in joint first is everyone else.
Okay,
What about
Tiebreaker.
making Morton's half a point?
Well, that's when it has to come into play, I
As if
think.
there'd be
So
a
now you're
shooting
joint
inquiry
winners
out
with
on that.
four and a
Settle on joint
half.
winners, Morton.
Yeah,
We
we
settle on
will.
joint winners, obviously.
What we'll do is
Mick's still been very, very disappointing second.
we'll think of a
Are lost?
deciding question in the next 10 minutes. We'll get our producer Luke onto it. We'll have a decider because we've always got to have a winner for the non-league quiz.
Can I just step in there?
Him won the amateur cup in 1958. Please, that's the question I want.
You stopped me winning that quiz by the Kingstonian default thing, which I would have won this.
No, because I said, if we're doing another quiz tomorrow, you might win that one. It's all about the deal.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. We will come back to it. Right, we're going to have a look at some of the fixtures that are coming up this week and try and get some predictions on it. We obviously know quite a few of the games that come up. We're going to dive straight into Mick versus the manager, though. I love this feature. And Mick, I'm not sure how you're doing at the moment on the leaderboard.
I think I'm fourth, aren't I?
I think he's like mid-table.
No, fourth, I think.
Every manager that we've been to
There's only 5 doing it.
we've got 16 managers now.
We've got 13 in it at the moment.
So 13 managers on the leaderboard. This is where you go head to head. Remy's got some fixtures, give you some of the facts behind them, and we can have a bit of a chat about who's going to win the fixtures today. Mick takes this very seriously, I would say that, Alan. So
you can use your assistant managers, by the way, if you wish.
Some assistant managers take the trophy more seriously than others. Some aren't so bothered about the trophy and they're desperate to get to 50 league points.
Fair enough, Martin. Fair enough.
To be fair, we'll keep telling Ian not to worry about things like that.
Okay, so they are all FA Trophy games that we're doing for Mick versus Manager today. So our first game is Brentwood Town versus Dartford. Brentford Town are currently 20th in the Bostik North after a 3-game spell of defeats, have enjoyed back-to-back league victories over Haringey Borough and Soham Town Rangers. Leading goal scorer Matt Price finds himself among the top 3 scorers of the division after netting 12 of their 27 goals. Opponents Dartford are currently top of the National League South, level on points with Braintree Town, who are second due to goal difference. 65 places separate these two sides. However, Dartford's away form this season has been off the mark, with only 3 wins on the road in 9. So will their trip to the arena see them bounce back from their recent away defeat to Truro City? Brentwood Town hosting Dartford.
Do you want me to go first? I'd say Dartford will shade it. Maybe it's 3-1. 3-1 Dartford.
You're going to use your assistant managers, Alan, to have a bit of a discussion?
He's well up on Dartford, aren't you?
4-0 Dartford.
Are they that good? Oh, no,
No,
they're top
I
of
don't have a better, but Dartford big and strong. We'll keep doing the same things all the time. If one of them, it could be 2-0, that's what put me in, but I think if we get a goal, we'll, you know what I mean, we'll be staying. I don't concede many goals, Dartford.
Okay, our next game is Hungerford versus Billericay. Just 6 league positions separate Hungerford Town and Billericay Town despite playing in different tiers. Hungerford are currently 17th in the National League South with 19 points in 19 games, whereas Billericay are second in the Bostik Premier after playing 5 games fewer than today's opponents and league leaders Dulwich Hamlet. Despite a rotating starting 11, Jake Robinson, Adam Cunnington and Billy Bricknell have all found the net at least 8 times over the course of just 14 games. Their combined total is just 2 goals fewer than Hungerford's league tally.
Douse, you go first this time.
I think it's a tough place to go up, Hungerford. A tough place. If all the hype on Billericay and they're playing the games Saturday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday. I know he's got a big squad down there. 2-1 Billericay.
That's interesting because obviously you've got the nod on Hungerford about how good or bad they are. I think I'll go for a draw then, 1-1.
Yep.
Our next game is Hendon vs Slough. In midweek, Hendon let slip a 2-goal advantage over league leaders Dulwich Hamlet to drop 2 points. However, ever after a recent winless stretch of 3 games, they do have the best home form in the league, collecting 23 out of a possible 30 points at Silver Jubilee Park. Slough Town are just 5 points short of Southern League leaders Kings Lynn Town with a 2-game advantage. In addition to their league success, Slough have also reached the second round of the FA Cup after defeating Berkhamsted, Dulwich Hamlet, Poole Town, Folkestone Victor and Gainsborough Trinity. On the 4th of December, they host League One's Rochdale at Arbour Park.
Well, Gary McCann's got a great side down there this year, Douse, by the way. We watched him on Tuesday, very young. He looked exuberant about having some youngsters about the place and a new squad, and they can score goals and they got a lot of pace in their team. But having said that, obviously Neil and John have got a good Slough side. I'm wondering whether they might have their eye off the ball a little bit with the FA Cup game on the horizon next week. I fancy... I'd love to say a draw because I know both teams are managers well, but I'm going to go for a Hendon nicking it. 2-1 Hendon.
Plastic pitch. No wonder they're for
both of them, yeah.
Both sides have.
Battle of the plastic pitches.
Yeah. Both sides plastic pitches are going to see about. Both sides doing very well in their leagues.
Because of plastic pitches.
Because of plastic pitches.
Oh, we must talk about this. Obviously,
there's a new discussion.
Yes.
So, your show isn't long enough. Do you want to play a different sport?
Well, we must bring this up later, Ben.
I'm just going to say we're definitely talking about this later because I feel like at the moment I'm the only person that goes to these grounds and I'm walking across and everyone I speak to I say I don't like this. Just don't like this at all. It's got to be on grass. I hope it doesn't go into the Football League. It looks like it is going to. We'll talk about it, Martin. We'll get it. We'll talk about it.
I all think the same. I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I think both sides aren't bad, but I think Slough are quite strong as well, and I think a draw will be sorted. Yeah.
Okay. And our final game is Havant and Waterlooville versus Dorking Wanderers. Havant gained promotion out of the Bostik Premier the season. Dorking Wanderers gained promotion into it, and therefore the two sides are unfamiliar with each other. Lee Bradbury's side had an emphatic start to the campaign and currently positioned 4th in the National League South, just 2 points adrift from first place Dartford. Jason Pryor is top goal scorer of the National League South with 12 to his name. Joining him in the top 20 of scorers of the division are teammates Rory Williams, Alfie Rutherford and Wes Fogden. As for Dorking Wanderers, they haven't quite found their feet in a new division, but they have found it quicker than Thurrock and Tooting United, who were promoted with them. Wanderers are currently 17th in the division and won their last league encounter 4-3 away to Harrow Borough.
We got beaten the last kick of the game down here against Havant Waterloo.
Last league defeat.
Last league defeat down here. It was in the summer. And last kick of the game, worldly it was. Player for player, they're not bad. And Dorking, they were up and coming club by the way. Found a few, I think 3-1 Havant.
I'd say, look, Dorking have got a few of their injured experienced players back and they're obviously going to go down there and give a good account, but I fancy home advantage might tell today, so I'm going to go Hampton and Waterlooville 2, Dorking Wanderers 1.
Did you just say Hampton and Waterlooville?
Sorry, Havant and Waterlooville. Apologies. Did I say Hampton?
Do you know something we don't?
Wow, sorry.
You just having a bad day because he's lost the quiz before, that's all it is.
Be intrigued to see how you guys get along later. We'll update the table and of course official BOTN if you want to let us know your predictions today. Right, that was the FA Trophy. Plenty of games going on across the Bostik leagues today. Got a few to draw your attention to. First of all, Leatherhead against Enfield Town. Leatherhead are 19th in the Bostik Premier with 19 points. They're just 3 points adrift of 13th with only 15 games played. Furthermore, Leatherhead defeated Billericay 3-1 on Thursday night to reach the second round of the FA Cup for the first time since 1978. Their cup run, I'm sure, will give them plenty of confidence going into this game. Enfield are 15th, but they're only 1 point ahead of Leatherhead and level with Merstham and Dorking Wanderers, who sit just below them. Interestingly, the side have played the same number of games as Leatherhead on paper. This is the closest encounter in the league today. Enfield, however, have had a mixed bag of results in their last 5 league games. 2 draws, 2 losses and a win. And it might be unfair to suggest that Leatherhead will be booming with confidence. Mind you, they did lose in midweek. It'll be really interesting, Mick, to see which one of these teams comes out on top. We watched Enfield earlier on in the season. Very impressed with them and their manager.
Yeah, he's a character like Alan, their manager from Yorkshire, I think.
We just played them, mate. We played them in the Middlesex Senior Cup.
Good side.
Good side.
Aaron Green, I think I picked as man of the match when we covered them early in the season at Needham Market. I think it'll be a very close encounter at Leatherhead, and it all depends what sort of team Leatherhead put out, but I think they realise they've got to pick up some points quickly because they're going so far behind. So hopefully Sammy Moore and Jack Midson will be playing, which I think will make them a heck of a lot stronger in getting the points. So I'm going to go for a draw, and I fancy probably a 1-1 draw.
Why didn't you ask me about the Leatherhead Cup run in the 70s? I could have given you all the answers.
There we go. We
that,
could have...
you know? 2-0 up at Leicester City and lost 3-2 in the end. It was national news.
Were you there, Martin?
Chris Kelly, the Leatherhead Lip. I just finished playing. I think I knew Chris because he played for Sutton. And he became a real sensation and got into the league. Eventually played for Millwall and then ran Kingstonian for a number of years. Maybe he's listening to the show. I hope he is, and hope you're well, mate.
Because Mick was there.
Yeah,
you were at the game.
I was at the game, and we were joined. The small band of Leatherhead supporters were joined by Nottingham Forest supporters that I think had their game cancelled that day, because I went to the previous game also at Brighton when I think I don't know if Peter Taylor was the manager of Brighton at that time. I don't think Nigel Clough was with him then, was he?
Brian Clough.
Brian Clough.
Brian Clough was the manager when Walton and Hersham won 4-0.
Wow.
And I was there with that, with Brian Clough's big mate, Brian Moore, the commentator, who took me down. I was a young person in television. Clive Foskett got a hat-trick, and I jumped up, because I played a year before against Walton, and we're sitting in the stand, in the director's box, Brighton director's box, but I'm with Walton, because I'm a non-league person, you know.
Wow.
And so that was fantastic. Was Billy Miller the manager of Leatherhead?
He was. Yeah. Billy Miller was, Billy Miller, definitely.
Yeah. Alan Bassford would have been the manager of Walton with Dave Bassford.
Yes,
great Alan Bassford.
I'm glad you can remember that far back. I thought you were a bit younger than me and Martin.
Quite a lot younger than you.
Putting a few grey hairs on there.
We're not going to do any sums on that.
No, I was going to say, I'll keep very quiet if I was you, Mick, to be fair.
It was. I tell you what, non-league football. That's where I fell in love with it, because there were big crowds. Very good players. Players would go from the old Isthmian League straight into the old First Division because they had that kind of ability. There was only money to be made until 73, 74, officially. Unofficially, you can make it. The Shamateurism, that changed. But they were such good players that the ones who had a decent job didn't want to go and play, even in the First Division. They were getting good money playing in the Isthmian League. The standard was really high, and I was lucky enough to play in it. I wasn't any good, but the players I played against were terrific.
Went to one funeral the other day, John McCormack, who Martin said was a fantastic player, and I went to his
funeral. Who did he play for? Kingstonian,
obviously. Woking, and he played for, you won't remember this, mate, there was a team in Addleston, and one of my Surrey Senior Cup games, I played for Corinthian Casuals at Addleston, Liberty Lane, the old ground. John scored both goals. We were supposed to win. And he was 38 or 39, so he was fantastic.
If it was in the 50s, Mick, you know.
Yeah, cheers, Al.
It'll be interesting today. We're looking at this game, but I assume that Jack Midson and Sammy Moore will be suspended because they've got that one game.
I think they're suspended for the Surrey Senior Cup game on Tuesday against Banstead.
It's a week, isn't it, from the event?
Yeah. So they're lucky that they've got that game. I don't know if it would have been the FA Cup game if it wasn't.
It might well have been. Might well have been. Yeah. I mean, there's disciplinary there from both those chaps. Sort of, could have been a big hit to Leatherhead and themselves and their own careers. They would have never forgiven themselves, would they? Really?
No, it's all.
And we'll talk obviously more about the big game next week. We'll be live from Wycombe Wanderers Football Club a week tomorrow for that game against Leatherhead. In the Bostik North, let's have a look at Grays Athletic against Soham Town Rangers. Grays Athletic are 17th, having netted 30 goals, 5th highest in the league. Despite plenty of goals, Grays have only won one of their last 5 games, not winning any of their previous 4. Their last league win was 3-1 against Tilbury on Saturday, 21st of October. Soham Town Rangers 15th in the league, just 1 point ahead of them. Similar situation to that of Leatherfield and Enfield. Their form hasn't been perfect, but slightly better with 2 wins out of their last 5. Most recently, Soham have lost 2 on the spin, so they hope for 3 points this afternoon. I know the North Division is new to you, Mick, but these 2 teams, we've seen Grays Athletic once this season. We're actually seeing the Soham Town Rangers in December, and Grays looked decent when we saw them up against Cray.
Yeah, it did. I've got a different opinion about the Bostik North Division now. It used to be like the lesser division between the South and North. before I've got involved with the Bostik Premier, and I applaud the Bostik North now. I think the talent and the skill has equalled itself out, and the competition are very equal, more so this year. But that's from sort of just learning more about that league, and not making just an off-cuff opinion about them, which is what most people have done over the last few years.
A lot of really good players about, It's amazing to think I'm lucky enough in my work to be at the very top of the pyramid with seeing the players that are household names. But what you get from being involved in non-league football is a real appreciation of the breadth of talent. And a lot of these lads have been well coached at Premier League academies, and they don't have the character maybe or quite the luck to get a chance to play at a higher level. Some of them go back again. Some of them, like Jamal Lowe, who was at Barnet and was the league club. And look at he's doing so well for Portsmouth, and I hope somebody buys him because we've got a nice sell-on fee.
Did get mentioned earlier, I'm sure.
We got it twice done now.
Well, more than Tiptree.
It is great though, isn't it?
Most fantastic.
Yeah.
Alan, Martin. Alan.
Sorry.
I'll get it right in a minute. It's getting me excited now. But obviously, going to a lot of these Bostik North sides, and Malden and Tiptree is one to come to. You've got Kevin Horlock, ex-professional footballer, and a lot of those boys that are playing there of Summit Academy and involved, and there's a tie-up with Colchester. And I think you can go on and on and on with Hornchurch. There are a lot of good sides in that Bostik North, which I didn't appreciate before.
And we're saying across all the Bostik divisions, I know we've mentioned this, it's almost an old term now to say the Jamie Vardy effect, but we look at the likes of Nico Muir, who's been looked at by 3 league clubs, and that is happening a lot more because of perhaps what Jamie Vardy's done. And there we've seen, Mick, this season, some really good strikers around.
Well, I can only hope that Gary McCann has got him on a contract, because they were exceptional the other night against Dulwich, and obviously we both know Dulwich are not a bad side, but they made Dulwich look very ordinary on that night and deserved to have won the game. But like normally a B plan, which we always talk about, which would be interesting also to talk about with these 3 gentlemen, about a B plan, i.e. like they just put 2 big guys up top, went for it for the last 10 minutes, loaded the ball in there, and they got 2 goals back.
I thought you'd reach for the pen, Alan, just to write that Nico Muir's name down then.
I've just guessed Guy McCann. No, sorry, mate, you're going to lose one of your players because of Mick.
Got one more fixture to talk about, and then we've got a decided question to give you two that Luke's just come up with. It's Hastings against Guernsey in the Bostik South. We do all one from each division. Hastings are unbeaten in their last 5 games, taken 2 draws against Chipstead, 3 draws against Chipstead, Horsham and Cray Wanderers. Poor run of form in September that included losing 4 league games has hindered them a little bit. They sit in 14th at the moment. Guernsey are in 16th. It's another encounter today that's really close. Again, we saw Hastings earlier on in the season, and that change of manager, and actually at Hastings the chairman has played a big part in where their season's heading. Well,
they put it out in the media that they decided they're going to cut the money and they're going to go with a lot of youngsters, and I think that was another reason why Steve Salis, as a good friend, has got involved down there, has got a few professional contacts, and I think they brought some decent young players in there, going to give them a go, and their form of recent has turned a little bit in their favour. I mean, there's another new debate about Guernsey, which, should they be in the league or shouldn't they be in the league, or have they done their time? It'd be interesting to see what Alan, Martin and Ian's thoughts are on that. As not that you've had to travel midweek, but I think Mark Coots of Whiteleaf made a big thing about it. Was it time? Have they done that? Had their stay? It's a lovely place to go, and they look after you really well. I'm not going to knock Guernsey at all, because it's really good and it's a great experience to go out there. But by golly, when you draw them away midweek and you have to take a weakened side out there, it rather sort of makes the league a little bit, and particularly if it becomes important 3 points to other teams, it's a bit of an issue. So it's a debate in itself.
We haven't been, have we?
We haven't been. But it is a two-way thing, because if they want a non-league club, you don't want to deprive them, because who else could they play? Yeah. You know what I mean? Where do they go? But 2. I know what you're saying. If we were going to play mid, you couldn't get lads to take them off work, could you?
You couldn't base them here and say, right, you can call yourself Guernsey, you can be run out of Guernsey, but you're going to play in Rye or somewhere like that on the south coast. The other thing I was going to ask you, what happened to Hastings the last time we were playing them? They got to the 3rd round of the FA Cup and made £250,000. Well, where's all that gone? What's happened?
Well, that's interesting, because I thought about that myself, but a lot of these clubs have earned good money in the past in the FA Cup run. funds, and you sort of think, where have they invested it, if you know what I mean? Like, I could say, and I'll bring this up because obviously you know Merstham quite well, and I'd like to think that the money they made last season has been invested back in that club. I know they've put quality floodlight.
Because I heard that Hayden's got a 6-bedroom in Oxford.
Invested in the manager.
He's buying a few more drinks in the bar, I've noticed.
That'll be a good change for him.
Okay, I mean, that's a good point to move on. I really do want to talk about what Mick brought up in the B plan in a minute. We're going to take a short break in a second. But before we do that, we've come up with a question because we had a tie in our non-league quiz, and this I think is a good question for both Alan and Martin. We'll give you a little bit of a time to have a think about it.
I realise I have to lose. It's just the way it is.
It's a suckable offence.
Yeah. Okay, here's the deciding question. How many teams have won the FA Trophy in back-to-back seasons? The closest wins it. How many teams have won the FA Trophy in back-to-back seasons? And of course, if you can tell me the teams, you get an extra point for each one.
Woking did, because I'm a Woking fan.
I could see it working. And if I'm going to go 4 back, could it possibly be Borough? Borough won it with Steve Higgins and all up there in the 70s.
Brains are really working in the studio now.
Back-to-back summit. Did Curtis I win it twice in the spin winner? How do you remember won it before it got promoted?
York.
I know obviously working, so it can't be one, can it?
No.
Unless it's a trick question, because I know you're a working fan.
You'd be disappointed if you didn't get 3 out of the 4, I think.
Oh, Ian's not got, obviously you can see. Oh,
yeah. Looking at the answers.
So we know the answer then. 4. Okay, boss, we get 4. That's
there's a bonus.
And we've got 1.
We know working's 1. That's fine.
Okay, can you name any of the others? Yeah, we'll change the question slightly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't do you any favours.
Yeah, we need to now.
We'll change the question slightly and say that there were 4 of them. Can you name them?
Working 1.
Remember, you're up against each other.
Yeah.
But
we're not.
Altrincham?
Altrincham?
Got to be next goal wins on this.
It's not one of them. Okay, yeah. Who can come up with the next club? So you could just start naming clubs. Really.
Borough's not. York. Curtis has not.
I'll give you a clue. 2 of them are in the Bostik Premier Division this season.
Kingstonian
did, yeah. Jeff Chappell.
Okay.
But I said that first, Ben, didn't
I? On the buzzer.
So competitive. You did. I'm going to tell you.
Come on, that's embarrassing from your perspective, mate. Come on, mate. You know, the 4th legendary ex-Kingstonian manager.
We're talking about. He won the 2 with Woking and the 2 with Kingstonian.
So it was 1 more in the Bosnia, 1 in the Premier.
Yeah, I'm going to give you them now.
The Enfield.
It's not. Obviously, Woking in 93, 94, 94, 95.
Yeah.
Kingstonian in 98, 99 and 99, 2000. The other 2 that we were looking for were Scarborough. They won it in 75, 76 and 76, 77. And Grays Athletic won it in 2004, 5 and 506.
We were there, went to the game. We went to watch the game as well.
So there we go. I'm not sure who wins the quiz out of that.
Us wins. That's the end of the matter.
It was
Put it in the archive.
The Greers game. The Greers game was at West Ham's going, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's been a bit like, we've always spoken to Alan about our results recently, and the way I've described it is when the final whistle goes, we've been leading. It's not quite the same as winning. And it's the same in this quiz here. The final whistle's gone and he's leading. So.
That's the one.
We'll talk much more about the club and the game today, and of course the B plan that Mick brought up as well. We can hear from Jodi Brown, the Haybridge Swiss manager, talks all about the fixture pile-up that they have. They've got 11 games in hand on those at the top of the table. We'll also talk to Tom Noize, the Haringey Borough manager, and Lee Bradbury as well, the Havant and Waterlooville manager. Between now and 1 o'clock, be back after this.
You're listening to Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Times are changing. We now live in a digital world where 9 out of 10 people use the internet to look for local goods and services. Whether in front of a computer at home or on a mobile phone on the go, people expect to find what they want, when they want, quickly and easily. The question is, can your business be found? At Promote UK, we specialise in getting local businesses found online. One highly affordable package will give your business a stunning mobile responsive website, which we guarantee key to get to the first page of Google and keep it there. And we take care of everything: copywriting, design, hosting. We even offer unlimited amends all year round for no extra charge. So, whilst you're busy focusing on your business, we're busy making sure it can be found online all year round. Start your Google Page One journey today with a free online health check by visiting promoteUKLimited.com. Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Are you looking for a little bit more than a good meal at a pub? The Half Moon is a hidden gem located in the picturesque village of Charlwood on the Surrey-Sussex borders. Proud of old traditions, this old English pub offers tasty fresh food with locally sourced ingredients, comfortable dining and traditional bar area, as well as a lovely garden for your enjoyment. Evening with friends or lunch with family, whatever the occasion, you can expect our friendly and welcoming staff to help. Half Moon Charlwood. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming events and live music.
Need to refuel? Whether you're heading home or away, get ahead of the game and refuel at Dorking's Service Centre. Dorking's local retailer of quality BP fuel, Costa coffee and food to go. Find us at the traffic lights close to Dorking Halls or at dorkingservicecentre.com.
From Premiership to Playground, MH Goals has everything you need for an outstanding football match, including aluminium and steel football goals, nets, line marking machines, team shelters, boot wipers, and much more. Buy with confidence direct from the manufacturer with great prices available across our whole range of sports equipment. What's more, we offer fantastic discounts for all FA affiliated clubs. We pride ourselves on British manufacturing. We make all our football goals here in the UK and conform to the latest British and European safety standards. So call MH Goals direct on 01502 711 298 or visit our online store at mhgoals.com.
Head to backofthenetsouth.co.uk tomorrow morning for video highlights and full match reaction of today's games. Back to your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the net, where it matters.
So we're live from Hampton and Richmond Football Club this morning for their game against Harlow Town at 3 o'clock. We're going to hear from Jodi Brown next, the Heybridge Swifts manager. They're in a very unique position where they're involved in the FA Trophy today, also been involved in the FA Cup right up to the fourth round qualifying, and they have also got 11 games in hand on those at the top of the table. They did have a very good start to the league this season. Here's how Jodi sees their situation.
Yeah, they look a good side. I went to watch them against Billericay on Monday night, and I thought for certainly the first half they asked plenty of questions of Billericay, and their system caused Billericay a few problems. They look, it looks like it'll be an interesting test for us. Again, playing aside from a higher level, away from home, which has almost become the norm for us this year. We've only played one league game in our last 9 matches, so we're getting used to these journeys, and we're getting used to going and giving a good account of ourselves. So hopefully we'll do that again. Yeah,
and it seems to be the way that when a team does well in the cup competition, in a cup competition, they do well in a few cup competitions. Can you draw on that experience at Exeter when you're going up against the likes of Kingstonian?
Yeah, I don't think it's a fair comparison to make Exeter and Kingstonian. Exeter are in another league altogether to Kingstonian. But we've played Dorchester, Billericay, Tunbridge, Met Police, amongst others from that level. So we can draw on all of those experiences. The Exeter game, there's 100 places separated to two clubs. This game, it's maybe 20 places or 15 places, I'm not sure, that separate the two clubs. So it's much more of a level playing field. But of course, we're the underdogs. Like I say, having watched them on Monday, as much as a coach, I can go there and see areas where I feel we can exploit. I saw plenty of strength. So under no illusions, it's going to be a very, very tough game.
We were talking on the show last week about your league position and the amount of games you've got in hand. Tell me how that makes you feel. How difficult is that when you've got all those games in hand?
It's not good at all. You can't call it a negative situation holistically, because we wouldn't have had these cup experiences. But when we're eventually out of the cup, it is going to be a negative, because as I touched on a minute ago, we've played one league game in our last 9 football matches. Unless you're in that situation, you can't really understand it. It's very easy for people just to go, oh yeah, you played Durham and you lost. But knockout football and league football is so much different. Playing against teams from a higher level than yours to suddenly playing at home against a team at your own level, there's a big contrast in that as well. In the way you approach the game, the way you set up for the game, the way you prepare, the way you try and counter the opponent when teams are stronger than yourselves. When you're playing teams at your own level at home, it is a bit different, and we're not used to it. We haven't done it for so long. So playing that one game against Durham last week when we hadn't been at home for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we hadn't played a league game for weeks and weeks and weeks was quite a challenge. And in a lot of ways, I look forward to being out of the cup competitions and being able to go back to playing Bostik North Saturday, Tuesday, trying to catch these games up, but more importantly, becoming sort of reacquainted with our level of football and with our league.
Do you think, is there anything that the league can do to stop this situation happening, or is it a case of so many Bostik teams don't progress so far in these competitions that you can't do anything about it?
Well, I must admit, I find it disappointing. I don't know if it's the league or whether it's the FA, but I find it quite disappointing that you're not rewarded better for your success. And I don't mean financially rewarded. I mean exactly what you've just alluded to. We've not really been given any leeway. Having to play county cup games and league cup games have taken precedent over our league fixtures. So if we win an FA Cup game and we get into the next round of the FA Cup, and as a result of that we've missed a League Cup game, rather than letting us play our league fixtures, we've had to play League Cup games, and I find it's quite damaging to the competition as well, because you can't play your full strength team, you can't give the competition the respect it deserves. And it was the same with the County Cup. I mean, our County Cup is a competition I really, really enjoy being in, with the likes of Chelmsford, Colchester, Southend, Dagenham. But this year, I had to make 7 changes to my starting lineup to play Bowers and Pitsea on a Tuesday night in that fixture, because of the amount of football we've had to play, and more importantly, because of the amount of football I know we have to catch up. And I just think perhaps those things like County Cup competitions and League Cup competitions could be rescheduled a lot easier. I don't think the other teams would be strongly against it either, than what league fixtures can be rescheduled. And the fact is we are a decent side this year. Everyone can see that. We've played 8 fixtures now against Step 3 teams, and we're unbeaten. So we've shown that we've got the capabilities to make a strong promotion push this year, and it's something we never expected in the summer, but it's where we are. But it's going to be massively hampered by the fact that, if we get anything from Kingstonian on Sunday, that's going to be another league fixture behind, and we're going to be 12 or 13 games behind some teams. And, I don't know what the answer is, but it certainly makes it difficult, and it certainly doesn't reward success.
Back of the net, where it matters.
Yeah, fascinating interview there with Jodi Brown. A few of the things to come out of it. Obviously, the cup run, it's a real struggle for them this season. Is a cup run and a struggle in the league a successful season?
Well, you could say, as long as you don't get relegated, basically. I mean, most managers will want to obviously have a good league season, but sometimes you just get embroiled into an FA Cup run when you're not expecting it, and then just momentum carries. And then, obviously, I can only go on what happened at Merstham last year. Obviously, we weren't expecting to beat Ebbsfleet, and we did, and so it put us out there against Oxford United. And obviously, the money that we got from that was quite astronomical for a small club like Merstham, and so probably the downside of it was we did actually fall away down that league, and the reason why we did is because we were playing sort of Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday to catch up on the games, and it took its toll. And if you haven't got a big enough squad, you're going to lose a lot of these away games, where you're travelling to Lowestoft. And we had to play the last game of the season sort of hoping results went our way to stay up in that league, which was quite a surprise, because we were a decent side and we ended up being 5th from bottom. But when you look at the directors and all that, and they say, well, it's established the club and it's given a good foothold, and it's going to make the facilities a lot better for the coming years. I can see Dowson don't agree with that thing, but at the minute, but I mean, I
agree with a lot of things you say, Mick, but not all. No, because none of your clubs aren't going to win the FA Cup. Let's get the cards on the table or not. But I realise about getting yourself Like my record in the FA Cup's not very good. I try to win FA Cup games, don't get us wrong, but you'll always be judged what happens at the end of the season. Now it's a good thing what you had there, but nearly got relegated. Hastings had the same when you're talking about, and you got relegated that year and haven't recovered. So yes, it gets you in the picture like Leatherhead on the other night for one game, but you'll be judged at the end of the season. Not many people remember the FA Cup at the end of the season if you haven't had a successful season.
I agree from a manager's perspective, I agree with that, but as the bigger picture from a club perspective, the club will probably say, don't worry, you never got us relegated, fine, we're moving next season, we've got a good funding and we can make our facilities 10 times better. So they probably see look, us as managers will look at it as a failure.
We've been lucky enough, I've been lucky enough with Dowse to win 2 leagues, and it's the best feeling in the world because you've done it over from probably the end of June, pre-season, all the way through to the end of April. It is the most fantastic feeling of satisfaction. Winning a cup doesn't give you that. It gives you a bit of silverware, it gives you a nice day out, it gives the fans a great day out, but from the football point of view, the clubs that I admire in my work and in non-league football are the ones that win the league because they are the consistent. They're doing it every week. The players are doing it every week, and those are the kind of players that we like to have in our dressing room.
When was the last team that did it like this sort of level though? Like did really well in the cup and had a good run in the league as well. Finished kind of top 2. I'm not sure recently out of any of the teams that have done it.
Because the point that you're saying is like if like last season, it's similar. It's very similar. We sold 2 lads for over £50,000. But that didn't go back into football. It went into the club to pay the wages or whatever, and we ended up missing out in the playoffs where if we had either kept the lads or that money had went back into strengthening the team. We could have been a different. If you were having an FA Cup run and your fella said, like, mate, our chairman would know, put it back in the team, then I think you got half a chance because you make your squad bigger and plan for when you do get knocked out of the FA Cup. You know what I mean?
I think that the teams at this level, it probably could get lost quite easy than what it would be at Bostic level. You know what I mean? It will mean more at Bostic level. At this level, where wages are higher and obviously costs and stuff like that, or it probably would get lost.
Well, he said actually in the interview, he says that they've left a legacy this year for what they did in the FA Cup and got through to Exeter. And so when you mention the word legacy, and that's the way the club are seeing it.
That's
and talking.
Really important to do that. I mean, as a Woking fan, the West Bromwich Albion win 91 was with Tim Bazagla's hat-trick. You know, for Woking to win at West Brom 4-2 is incredible. And they've had a reunion. They've had all the lads back together again, and for the fans, that's just a wonderful memory. But I've been a Woking fan for more years than I'm prepared to admit, and they haven't got in the league, the Football League. They haven't, got close. And I don't think it's probably going to happen. It might this year. Anthony Limbrick's doing a fantastic job there and not inheriting the best situation. So maybe they will. But that would mean more to me, I think, than the days at Wembley and to become a Football League club, my local team to become a Football League club. That hasn't happened.
Is there a comparison to be drawn between, when we're talking about this, a club, like you say, like Woking, it will mean more to a supporter perhaps to go on that cup run and leave that legacy? Is that a little bit similar to it mean more to a player to win the FA Cup and get the medal than it will to finish in, say, the Champions League or the European spots? Are we talking that kind of...
Yeah, that's a big debate in the Premier League. I think they should give medals for qualifying for the Champions League. That would solve the argument then. You could say you've got the medal, but no, they want to win there aren't that many trophies that you actually can win, and that's one of the big problems at the level that I work at, because everybody who doesn't win is branded a failure after 5 minutes, and it's really tough. I know they get very well rewarded, the managers in the Premier League, but if you don't come up with... If Guardiola wasn't to win the Premier League this season after what's happened, he'd be branded useless, and of course we all know he's far from that. He's a wonderful manager. So I think the limit to the amount of trophies you can win makes it a worthy debate as to what is actually. We work on the premise of doing better than last season
on everything we do.
Yeah, so we've done better in the FA Cup, and now we've got to try and do better than we were 7th in the league, which we felt was a bit above our station, but we did. So that's our target. Whether we'll make it, we'll see. But that's what drives you on. Yeah.
And Jodi, one of Jodi Brown's points was really interesting. We're going to ask in a minute, do the league and the FA do enough to these clubs that do really well, reward them for doing so well in the cups? Because he said that for the League Cup and the County Cup, and just as your point, Martin, was that there isn't that they are trophies, they are medals up for grabs that you'll always remember as a player and a manager to win. And what he's saying here is that he can't have a go at those two competitions because of the success that he's had in the FA and Trophy and the FA Cup. And do the league do enough to support those teams doing so well, flying the flag?
I don't know how much you support, because you're looking, if they do here with the favour, that means they're going against 20 other clubs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's the absolute bottom.
Where some people we might say, we're not concentrating on the FA Cup. We do. That's not the reason we got knocked out. We got knocked out because we're better on the day. But if we didn't, we concentrate on the league only. When these other clubs who had these cup ones are getting preferred treatment.
But what favours could the league do? What the Bostik League do as opposed to what the Evo Stick League don't do, which is quite interesting, bearing in mind it's the same product as such, but is the fact that Neil Baker made this point that Slough had to travel down to Merthyr on a Tuesday night prior to their FA Cup game, and obviously the Bostik League allowed Leatherhead to have a fresh week. So I can't work out why there was a differential from leagues sort of being sponsored by almost the same product and yet have two different trains of thought. It's quite strange.
I think success breeds that kind of problem, and you have to live with it, because I hear all the time the Premier League managers moaning, we should be helped in the Champions League by if you move a match, say, to help Manchester United play in the Champions League, you're moving somebody else to play them, and it won't suit them. So why should they be moved to do it just to help?
Part of the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's part of the challenge and dealing with it. And to be honest with you, Mick, you've been in the game a long time, that playing is much better than training. Playing is much
if you're
more fun.
Players,
you play 3 times a week. When I was playing in the Isthmian League, we played 70 games a season with squads of about 15.
We talked about this on the show a couple of weeks ago. It's a really interesting point that we made, was actually in the Premier League with all the fixtures, perhaps, and I say the word perhaps, that you can understand with the psychological pressures of playing in front of that many people, with all the TV cameras nowadays and the pressure that's on the managers and the players, why they perhaps mentally can't get themselves ready for 2 games in a week. You could perhaps have that argument. But is it now a fact that at this level we're looking at it as if it's the Premier League, where there isn't quite the same psychological pressures, and they're just following suit and saying, well, I can't play 2 games, 3 games in a week?
Well, that's what all the Premier League managers say when I say, they could play 2 or 3 games a week. And they say, you don't understand the mental pressures, and they're right. And there is a lot of that, but that's their livelihood. I don't see why non-league players should worry about it.
They're just copying that. They're just thinking, these are the excuses we hear from Arsene Wenger, etc. So we're going to make these excuses.
Yeah, they do get told. They do. Sam Allardyce is the one who talks most about it, and he says you can't. You have to have a full preparatory week. We're not going to talk about the plastic pitches then.
We are. We're going to
throw one in there. Tell the ref that would be late kick-off today.
I'm going to turn our attention to that.
Now listen, we've all got to go to work, but I want to leave you with one thought. If you want plastic pitches, do what hockey did. When I was growing up, hockey was played on grass. Now it's totally played on plastic. If you want to have a sport that embraces the technology and the all-weatherness of it, off you go and do it. You just find that a lot of people from my generation will not watch it, and I would not fall in love with football as it's played on the plastic pitches now. Got no pizzazz about it. It's a false situation. It's an artificial game. It's a 5-a-side game on an 11-a-side pitch, and it doesn't have the hurly-burly that attracted a lot of people to football in the first place. That's me finished.
And it's a fair point. And to add to that, I would say, where do there's so many famous games that are changed by a slight bobble on a pitch, or a great strike that lifts up from a bobble on a pitch, or just those sort of silly little things like that, which can change games on grass with different types of playing surface, frost, a little bit of frost. You know what I mean? Whereas you do get a sort of I think sometimes a more exciting game, possibly, from those little attributes.
I was going to say, Mick, perhaps again it's this thing where we look from the top now and we see the Premier League managers and the way they say the pitches have to be a certain standard. You see it now all throughout the Premier League and the Championship. They're pristine. And again, we seem to be following suit now, where you go to grounds and they say, we don't want to play. If it's a little bit of water and it affects the pitch, we don't want to play.
Well, there is that, because you've got sort of you have got sort of protective groundsmen and managers that want to play a certain style of football, that want to have the pitch looking perfect. but I'd rather takes away what it was really about in the bus. But plastic pitches, I think the positive side of it is the fact that they can sort of sustain a club from the financial perspective. So that is a positive in that area. But if you're talking about pure football games, I think,
let the players decide. It's about the players now. It's not about us. Well, Ian's playing days. We're still trying to encourage him to play, but it takes a lot of doing. But those days have gone. Let the players decide. If that's what they really want, good luck to them. And that's the kind of mentality they've been brought up. They want all these advantages. I made my debut at Carshalton, the Surrey Senior Cup game, on the worst pitch ever, totally frozen. You would never play on it, really, but we played, and that was wrong. So there's been improvements as well, but I just think it's a different sport. And of course, we haven't even touched on the fact that if you've got an injury, it finds you out. If you've got a long-term injury, if you look at the medical side of it, older players don't like it because it's pounding on the impact on it. So there'll be lots of people listening. Sorry, Ian, but lots of people listening and have different views. Ian,
no, I was going to say, if you ask the players and the managers, I think across the board you'd get people in favour of the grass. I don't think anyone would choose the artificial ones over the grass. I think, like Mick touched on, it's I think as a club, especially at these sort of levels, the extra income that it can produce, in terms of the community and what you can do. And I'm in charge of the academy at this club, and a lot of clubs have them, and facilities are hard to come by. So certainly models like Maidstone and Bromley and clubs like that have obviously been quite successful on academy level as well as first team level, which then kind of makes everyone look at it a little bit more. That side of it comes in, the financial incentives in terms of you can hire it out across the week. The first team can train there, the academy can train there, your under nines can train there, and it's all obviously revenue that's coming into the football club. So like we talked about with the FA Cup run and the league run, sometimes it's the chairman that makes a decision rather than the manager or the supporters, and ultimately it comes down to probably what's best for the football club. In a lot of cases, Martin's spot on. I think if you ask the players and you ask the managers, and probably most of the supporters, they would go grass every time. It's an absolute no-brainer, I think, for football people. So
I think it does go back to that point we were saying about where clubs are so protective. I worked with an academy side, and we went to a ground a few weeks ago, and they said that you couldn't play on it because there was so many fixtures being on it. And you do look at a game that comes to mind, and Martin, you I'm sure you'll have many games that will come to your head, but Nottingham Forest, I believe, played Tottenham in an FA Cup tie. It was mid-90s, and it was the pitch was just covered in snow. I think it'd gone to a replay, and you couldn't see green.
It was it happened after about 20 minutes. It started green, and then it was a whiteout. And I stupidly tried to drive back to London that night and got in at 4 o'clock in the morning. Those things do happen. But funny enough, a couple of years before that, Crystal Palace played Forest, and it was postponed 3 times for 3 different weathers: frost, fog and waterlogged. And I don't ever recall that happening, and that must have been a very strange winter. I think the waterlog had a bit to do with the management of Nottingham Forest not quite having the players available that they wanted, because the pitch inspection consisted of a member of the coaching staff throwing the ball in the one puddle that was available, and off we went, and we all went home, but that was part of the fun of it. I do think we are health and safety conscious now. The biggest issue at the moment is the dementia issue, because if it is found that people heading footballs are more prone to suffer in later life, we have an issue. The game will change beyond all recognition, and those researches are going ahead in January, isn't it? The FA start in January, and I think it's right that should be investigated, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. So it never stands still, football, and the debate at the moment might be plastic pitches. Next week it might be something else, So that's why we love it. It's volatile, it's exciting, and we've got a game to prepare.
And gone are the days where Manchester United travel to Bramall Lane on a pitch that's just more brown than green, and it's going to be really difficult for them.
Not Pride Park, the baseball ground at Derby, full Pride. That was always that had no green. That was brown.
We've mentioned by a few managers actually when we've had this debate that we need a separate show to talk about the 3G issue, and I think we'll set that up. And certainly, Martin, you'd be welcome to come to that, because we can talk all night.
You've heard. You just play the bit I've said now. I won't.
He's not going to change.
I'm not going to change my mind. And we're playing Harlow today, and if we draw,
there you go. Very true.
So we'll know we'll fancy that one, won't we?
I know you guys have.
11 beyond.
Is Harlow's record better at home than it is away?
I would have thought so. Their supporters are actually very notorious behind. They've got a big siren going. It's quite, yeah. You want it.
I know, well,
have a draw today, mate. Have a draw and go down and find out, mate.
Okay,
we'll look forward to it.
We need to let you guys go. Thank you ever so much for coming on the show.
My super sit, I've got a task in my 6, 7.
Always, Mick.
Because there's an interesting one. I'm going to do it. Can I do it quickly?
Mick's quick 6. Off we go. Let's do it.
Very quickly. Right. I want you to stay, Martin, quickly. One of these. Most arrogant manager you've met. Here we go. Come on.
That's a hard one, aren't they? We all are.
They all are. Is that your answer?
Including me. That's all right, isn't it? Yeah. That's all right.
Stroppiest player in your squad.
Just Casey.
Wow, that's easy. Player this season you would like to add to your team from another club.
Oh, Lionel Messi.
Good answer. I'll allow you that one. Funniest thing you've seen at a football game.
Funniest thing. Lad.
I'll let you carry on.
It might have been Martin against Staines, but that's not. Martin against Staines, but there's a little private one.
Okay, fair enough. How would you describe your management style in one word? Or whether your assistants might want to answer that. What's his management style in one word?
Total.
Total. What's your word for it, Martin? Would it be total?
Yeah, total. Absolutely full on.
Passionate,
right? There's two there. This is the most interesting one for you, Dowson. That's why I wanted Martin to stay here. And you can address it about Ian and Martin. Your number 2's most annoying trait. Right.
I know what mine is.
Well, come on.
By one of them, it's getting 50 points.
Yeah. Right. Is that a thing that he talks about a lot, is it?
A lot. I was our team. And to be fair, Ian's the tightest fella I've ever met before.
Okay, right.
He's actually, he carries no money on
right.
Hold on, before we go, it's a quick story here, right? We once had a drink down here, right? And I remember sitting having a drink down here all night. And I spent 80 quid. And I went to Tracy in the bar. I've just spent 80 quid. My mate Simon, who was there as well, said, I spent 80. He never spent 1 penny.
So now we know he is. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, lad. Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you ever so much for joining us, guys. Good luck this afternoon, and we'll speak to you after the game. Ian, Martin and Alan, thank you. Right, let's next hear from Tom Noize, the Haringey Borough manager. I caught up with him yesterday.
We've had a few up and down results. We've had a lot of injuries since then, maybe the cause of it. But we're still going strong. We were unbeaten up until about a week ago. But we're still hanging in there, still going strong. Hopefully a few more weeks we get all our injuries back.
You've had a good run in the FA Trophy. You've beaten Whiteleaf and Harrow Borough, and you go up against Tame United next. Do you know much about them?
I went and watched them once, to tell you the truth. Similar sort of scenario as the FA Cup, really. We beat all the teams above us. Hopefully it isn't going to be the same result tomorrow as it was against Heybridge.
Yeah, it's interesting that when teams do well in a cup competition, they do seem to do well in a couple of cup competitions in that same season. Can you use the experience that you've drawn in the FA Cup and the amount of games that you did win to push on in this trophy?
Yeah, hopefully we've learnt a few lessons from the FA Cup and the previous rounds. We could only do our best again tomorrow. Hopefully this time we get the right result for the football club.
And as far as the league form, you mentioned it's been a little bit up and down. You're still fifth in the league. You've still got aspirations that you'll go on, and promotion's the key this season, especially with that extra place up for grabs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the real prize for us. Keeping our eyes on those promotional positions. Hopefully we're finishing the top 3. If not, there's another 3 places below where it'll put you into the playoffs, and hopefully again we learnt our lessons from last season. I feel we're in a better shape this season. It's just at the moment we have picked up quite a few injuries to key players, and it's down the spine of the side. But again, they say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, so hopefully at the end of the season we'll be there or thereabout.
And how have you found managing that balance between having all the cup games and still staying strong in the league?
It's been difficult, to tell you the truth. Like I said, we set out for promotion this season, and the cup games have been a little bit of a bonus. It's very hard to dismiss the FA Cup and the FA Trophy when it's there in front of you, and obviously the prize money as well. So it's got to be a fine balance. I feel like we're doing okay. We could have done better, but it's like what you said, it's a fine balancing act between the two at the moment.
And it's strange when you look at the table because you've played 4 games less than Dereham Town, who are at the top one, 39 points, but you've played the same amount of games as AFC Hornchurch in second place. And I spoke to the Heybridge Swifts manager a little bit earlier on, and they've obviously played 10 games less than everybody at the top. It's very strange.
Yeah, unbelievable. Everything's doable in football, and you just got to take, I know it's an old cliche, and every manager says you just got to take game by game, prepare for the next game, and because you never know what it might bring, what sort of injuries or suspensions, and that's all you can do as a manager, just prepare for each game as it comes.
It's been nice to speak to you, Tom, and I trust that you're still going strong with the message that you're the only team in White Hart Lane.
Of course. The only senior side in White Hart Lane. I think they're called Tottenham, and they play in Park Lane or Tottenham High Road or something. So
something like that, eh?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Have your say. Get in touch on social media. Just search official BOTN.
Tom Noize, another successful manager, Mick, this season in the cup competitions, did so well in the FA Cup, getting to the 4th round qualifying, and again in the FA Trophy today. They're up there in the league. He's done a good job.
Done a fantastic job. Good character, nice gentleman. Looked after us when we covered their game. Unfortunately, they lost to Heybridge Swifts that day. But obviously another team that I look for their results now, and had a fantastic season. I think they've had a couple of iffy results of late, but they're capable of beating anyone on their day, like the Heybridge Swift team and the Haringey. Haringey's, really enjoyed our time there. Top bloke, and hopefully they do well today.
Okay, right now we're going to switch our attention to our Super Sub feature, and Brannon Daly has joined us. Brannon, very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you too.
How's the season going at Horsham?
It's going all right. We've picked up a few good results, obviously, last Saturday.
I think we might just be losing Brannon there. You still there, Brannon? Yeah, I'm not sure Brannon's signal's so good, so we'll come back to him. He's obviously driving to the game. Mick, let's go quickly back to Haringey Borough, because you make a good point there. They were very close in that game against Heybridge Swifts. It was only the striker that really took Heybridge in the end through. They were very unlucky in that game. Hopefully for them, a good run in the FA Trophy. Yeah, it might compensate a little bit. Tom hopefully will want to compensate going out the FA Cup a little bit earlier than what he was hoping.
They're capable of knocking a couple of decent teams out, and whoever knows, the further they go along there in the trophy, they might start believing in themselves more, and there's a little bit of luck that comes into cup football, and never know, they could go reasonably far, a lower level team. And they're playing Tame United today, and they probably fancy their chances. Yeah, why not? Are they at home, Ben? Do you know? I think they're away. Oh, they're away. That might be a little bit more difficult, but as I say, on their day, he's got a good group of players there. They're a together type of club and team, and I fancy they do well in the league. They're still there or thereabouts where they need to be in their league, and we wish them well to do well in the FA Trophy because they're representing the Bostik League. Right, let's go back to the phone lines. Brannon Daly has joined us again. Hello, Brannon. We lost you for a moment.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there.
So things going well this season for Horsham. A lot of change at the club, having to move and play somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean it's not ideal, especially for the fans. But I mean, for the teams that have come down to Horsham this season, and I think it shows, like when we played Greenwich last Saturday, I think we had at least sort of 70, 80 fans singing the whole game. So I mean, it'd be brilliant for the club when the ground's all done and they're back nice and local. So yeah, it looks good.
And aims for the season at Horsham, what do you think you can achieve there this year?
I don't know. I think Horsham always sort of looked at as just a club that are just sort of in the league mid-table. I think a top 10 finish would be very achievable, especially now the way the results are going and players are coming back. But yeah, top 10 would be lovely. Obviously, there's extra place this year to go up, which would be even better. But like I say, I think at the moment, top 10 is achievable, and it'll probably be the aim at the moment. If we get a good few results and we get into that, then who knows? We can look a bit further. But yeah, somewhere around there, obviously, I think everyone would be happy with. after the way start of the season went.
Brandon, Mick Sullivan here. Just quickly, I want to butt in here. Got a quick question for you.
Yep.
Just difficult before you start your debut game. What do you think the differences are between Jim and Hayden and previous managers you've worked under, and Dominic, what he's doing there at Horsham? What's the biggest fundamental differences, would you say?
I'd say the atmosphere is a lot more relaxed, and sort of Jim and Hayden, like, they've got their ways, and they get their players really drilled and organised, and sort of there's a structure to everything they do. I'm not saying there's a structure to what Dom doesn't, what Dom does, but it's a lot more relaxed, and sort of in the changing room, the boys, like, there's a bit more of a connection between manager and players, I guess, which is quite nice, and it's quite refreshing as well. So.
Yeah, well, so what you're saying is that Dominic comes in smoking a cigar, so it's all chilled out in there.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, when things go bad, he puts his foot down and he'll have a go. But I mean, which most managers do. But I mean, yeah, it's nice and relaxed. I mean, the players enjoy it. I mean, Dom gets on with all the players really well. I mean, I don't think anyone had a sort of think, oh, here we go again. Like, he's gonna. Can't swear, but he's going to have a go at us here for something which we don't really agree with, which is yeah, like you say, refreshing. It's nice, and he's quite young himself, so it's good for the league as well, I guess, having new young managers like him in it. So yeah, it's good.
Okay, Brian, we're going to get you to play our Super Sub feature now. Have you heard this before? Do you know what you have to do?
Yep, I've got to answer the wrong answers.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, it's maybe a bit more difficult than it sounds, but we'll see how you get on. You've got to do it as quick as you can. We've got a stopwatch ready to time you. We've got 10 questions for you, and all you got to do is substitute the correct answer with something different. Okay, right. Let's start the clock now. Who won the Barclays Premier League last season?
Liverpool.
How many times have England won the World Cup?
7.
What are flags used for on a football pitch?
Goal kicks.
What colour cards does a referee carry?
Purple.
Which team has won the European Cup the most times?
Leicester.
Name a Tottenham legend.
Kenny Dalglish.
What colour is the winter football?
Blue.
What's the name of BBC's Saturday night highlight show?
Football League show.
What do goalkeepers wear that outfield players don't?
Helmets.
Finish the team name. West Bromwich.
Down.
Okay, stop the clock. Oh, that was some good answers there. I liked it. That was good. I think that was pretty quick as well. We have one of our producers just working out your score and where you are on the leaderboard. How did you find it?
Yeah, no. So sometimes you're like panicking, and you say an answer, and you're suddenly your brain freezes. You think it's really easy. I've been thinking about it all week, thinking, right, if something comes up, I've got a load of answers.
You've been practicing, mate.
It's a bit like bang, they say it, and you'd be like, but no, I like this game. I think I listened to old Radio 1 on a Monday, and they do that wrong and all, which is very similar. So I've been practicing.
Yeah, I wonder where we got our ideas from, or maybe where they got theirs from. Yeah, it is a lot harder than you think, but you do only have to say anything that's not the right answer. Liverpool. I liked your go-to answer with the Barclays Premier League. One big team that have never won it, of course. Sorry, Liverpool fans. England winning the World Cup seven times would definitely be nice. And
would be nice, yeah, really.
Flags that are used on a football pitch for goalkeepers. I'm not sure what they do with them, but perhaps that's an idea.
Yeah.
Purple ball, purple card for the referee. There's another idea that you've come up with. Kenny Dalglish, a Tottenham legend. If only that was true. And what colour's the winter football? Blue. Yeah, good suggestions. West Bromwich Town at the end there. You did it in 50 seconds. You're actually top of our players' leaderboard now. So, brilliant performance. Well done. I know that'll mean a lot ahead of today's game to know that you're top of the back of the net players leaderboard.
Yep, I'll celebrate tonight because of that.
Yeah, definitely get yourself a drink. Brandon, thanks ever so much for coming on. Good luck with the game today.
Thank you.
Brandon Daly, who's now top of the Super Sub leaderboard. 10 minutes to go on the show this morning. You can get your thoughts into official BOTN, anything that we've talked about since 11 o'clock. We're going to hear next from Lee Bradbury, the Havant and Waterlooville manager. They're up against Dorking Wanderers today, and I caught up with him yesterday.
2 points off top. The frustrating thing is we could have been top. With an average home record, we've been not very good at home, to be honest. We've been fantastic, but played well at home, just haven't picked up the results that we deserve. But the performances have still been good, so I can't grumble at this stage after getting promotion to be in the position we're in at the moment. It's great.
And Jason Pryor, obviously top goal scorer, National South, 12 goals. It's great for the club, great for him as well.
Yeah, he continued where he left off. The challenge for him was, can he do that consistently, week in, week out at Conference South, So obviously last year scored a lot of goals for us. It was a major part of us getting promoted. But he continued where he left off last season, and he's in a good vein of form at the moment.
The interesting thing with you and your side is that I spoke to you at the beginning of the season and said, right, what are the targets for the club? It's a big club, back up to the National South, and you said you were still looking for that right blend, still looking to bring players in, and it was a bit of a difficult summer. Has that now changed? Are you firmly setting your sights on promotion?
Well, I think I certainly want to go into every game trying to win every game, and the players are the same. And I think that reflects in how we play. I'd rather lose a game and give it everything than try and float through it and lose last minute. But we've been hard working, and as a group of lads, I can't fault them. Their attitude's been great this season. So we do try and win every game we go into, and otherwise I don't see the point of competing, to be honest. So whether that's in FA Trophy, FA Cup, League, or whatever it may be, local cups, just got to try and win as many games as we can, because it becomes a habit in the end.
And you just missed out on Dorking Wanderers, because as you left the division, they came into it. Do you know much about your position tomorrow?
Went out to watch them last week. It will be a county cup game. Quite a few changes. I spoke to a couple of managers that have played recently as well, so done our homework. We won't be disrespectful to them or underestimate them for sure. They've got some good players in the team, some good experience, and beating Leaston 4-1 in the last game just goes to show what a good side they can be on their day, Dorking, and we'll be mindful of that.
And what you obviously experienced, you're vastly experienced, but the difference between the Bostik League Premier Division that Dorking Wanderers are in now and you won last season and the National South, how is that difference?
Yeah, I just think the players and the teams are more consistent probably than they are in the Ryman's. Can be a reasonable gap between the bottom of the Ryman's and the top. And in the Conference South, anyone can beat anyone, and that's proven this season with the likes of Bognor and Oxford and that are down there at the moment, beating some teams that are in and around the top. So, I just think players and teams are more consistent week in and week out than they probably are in the Bostik Premier.
And as for your squad, have you got any plans to bring any more players in as we go into the Christmas period, or are you settled now and you think this team can compete all the way to the end of the season?
Well, we're settled. We've got a couple of lads out on loan at the moment. We've got James Ater down at Weymouth, just getting some game time. Lee Molyneux's out at Gosport, doing the same. I've got a couple of lads suspended tomorrow as well, so in Mike Carter and Ed Harris, so I've forced into a couple of changes, but which will leave us a bit light. It does highlight really that we won't be able to fill the bench tomorrow. We'll have 4 on the bench, one of them be a goalkeeper. So it is highlighted that if we lose a couple, then we are a little bit light. So possibly looking to strengthen if we can, but it's got to be the right player at the right time.
For all the best coverage from across the Bostik leagues, visit backofthenetsouth.co.uk.
Yeah, Lee Bradbury in positive mood as they go up against Dorking Wanderers Day. Should be a fascinating game, that one, and we talked about that. It was one of the Mick versus the manager games earlier on in the show. It's come to that point in the show, we're going to get a supporter on from each of the clubs doing battle this afternoon. And first of all, let's say a very good afternoon to Ben, who's a Hampton fan. Ben, afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Are you in confident mood because of your club's recent form?
Well, I'm certainly feeling more confident than I would have done this time at the end of August, because it was looking a bit shaky. But yeah, the recent run of form has been absolutely incredible and brilliant, and really enjoyed it so far.
And an opportunity today for a cup run. You fancy a day out at Wembley in May?
Well, of course I fancy a day out at Wembley. I'd have fancied a day out at Charlton, but fortunately that wasn't to be earlier in the season. But yeah, it would be good to make a couple of rounds at least in this tournament.
Now, luckily, Alan Dowson's not sitting next to us anymore. He's had to go and get ready for the game. But we do like to ask, if you were the manager of Hampton and Richmond Football Club, is there anything that you would change that's perhaps not being done at the moment? Style of play, players.
The style of play. I'd probably go I'd probably go a bit more central at some point in the game. We seem to use the wings a lot, and I think if we played a bit more down the middle, maybe a more permanent striker would help to enable that. But I think maybe some balls through the middle would be a good way to unpick some rather defensive teams.
Right, we'll keep you there, Ben, for a second. We're going to say good afternoon to Ross, who's a Harlow fan. Ross,
run out of battery at this rate.
How you doing, Ross? Are you there, Ross?
I don't feel fit, man.
Hello, Ross. Ross, we can hear you, but you can't hear us. Ross, are you there? No, we don't seem to have Ross on. Let's go back to Ben, the Hampton fan. Then, Ben, I'm going to ask you what your predictions are for the game.
Right, prediction. I think Harlow are going to be a tough test. We do often come unstuck sometimes to smaller teams who certainly seem up for the cup. But I think, given our form and how we're playing at the moment, I think we will probably win it 2-0.
Bold prediction from Ben, our Hampton fan. Well, Ben, I take it you're coming to the game this afternoon.
Oh yeah, of course. I'll be taking pictures there as well.
Brilliant. Ben, thanks ever so much for coming on the show. Wish best of luck to your club and obviously in the FA Trophy. It'd be nice if you could actually get to Wembley at the end of the season. So Ben, the Hampton fan, thank you. Mick, it's been a packed show today, so much that we've seemingly covered. What's your thoughts on the game today?
Interesting, because I think, look, Harlow went and knocked out Dulwich, which are a top side. So they've obviously want to, they like the underdog tag, which is Danny's already made mention of that. So who knows what can happen? This is cup football. I know Alan Dowson and Martin and Ian are not going to underestimate Harlow, but Harlow, it's a 50-50 call for me. Harlow turn up today, and those boys that have travelled on a coach getting here are up for this game. Could be a difficult one.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Full live commentary this afternoon. You can join us from 3 o'clock. Don't forget, the Bostik League show tomorrow will be Hampton against Harlow with various other goals as well from 10 o'clock in the morning. Big thank you to Hampton and Richmond Football Club for making us feel so welcome this morning. Mick, thank you ever so much. And we'll join you again. This time next week, we won't have a show, but it will be a week on Sunday. So if you want to listen to us next Sunday, slight change of time as well. We're here from 10 till 12. Be live from Wycombe Wanderers Football Club for that FA Cup second round game between Wycombe and Leatherhead. Can see Mick's eyes light up already. And from all of us here, we'll see you this afternoon, 3 o'clock, full live commentary.
Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Head to backofthenetsouth.co.uk tomorrow morning for video highlights and full match reaction of today's games. Back of the Net. Where it matters.